Oh God, there's a whole story with that.
Top 5 scariest things caught on camera. Like those ones, I watched those all
I
day
got
long.
hired while I was looking to get out of the day job thing and get into full-time editing and animating and stuff like that. I actually got hired by a Canadian company called Babbletop to do a top 10 list.
Nice.
And they're like, oh, well, what are you into? And I'm like, oh, I'm into like wrestling, comic book movies, video games, stuff like that, old cartoons. And they're like, oh, cool. Well, do you want to do the top 10 facts about Ryan Reynolds?
I listened to it, but I watched it and it was so bad I had to stop. Like, your voice is fine, but it's just the stupidest list.
Like, okay, so I was like, okay, cool. So they're like, okay, well, you can do the voiceover and the editing. I will say those guys who do that every day, I do not envy them. That is very difficult. I had to download like 100 pictures of Ryan Reynolds with his shirt off, and I'm like, that's it. Ryan Reynolds is ruined for me. Yeah. But I think I got like into the intro, and I was like, dude, I can't do this because it's taken away from my work.
Yeah.
Like
did you ever finish it?
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube?
I did not finish the editing. I handed the editing off to somebody else. I said, you can keep the voiceover. I will do voiceover for you guys, but I cannot do the editing side of it. Just because from like an artistic standpoint, that's not me.
Yeah.
Like
if I was into the topic, it'd be more fun.
Yeah, but I wasn't into the topic of Ryan Reynolds. Like, they wrote the list, and it was like Ryan Reynolds, dated this person, or Ryan Reynolds has kids, stuff like that. I'm not into that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah.
So we'll dive right in here. So hey everyone, this is Anthony with Interviews with Everyday People. That intro there will probably be like our intro before the show because I think that's really funny.
Yeah,
so
I had to get that off my chest. I mean, like, they were really cool to work with, but it's like they were super critical.
Yeah. We do a lot of top 10s, or we'll like on our wrestling show we'll say like, hey, what is your top? Like I think last wrestling show we did was like our top 10 favorite skits in wrestling history. Mine was the Jay Lethal Ric Flair.
Oh yes,
yeah,
yes.
That was my number one. Or like, and then the one was when DX was in the Gamecocks, and they kept just saying like, "Oh, if Vince was down here, he'd beat the hell out of that cock." Yeah, all that stuff. But yeah, we're here today with Tedd Hazard. We're gonna learn a lot about Tedd and all the cool projects he's working on. We already heard about one. He knows all these awesome facts about Ryan Reynolds.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you want to check that out, you can go on the Babbletop YouTube channel, and it's there. My voice is there. I did not look at it. Did not read the comments or nothing. I'm sure there's a million people that are like, yeah, that video's real cool, but that dude's voice sounds awful. He sounds like that nerdy guy from Crust Tunes.
I love when they do like top 10 things about The Office you didn't know,
and
it's everything you would know.
It's like number 3, Kevin Malone's voice is not the actor's real voice. I know that because you watch the first 2 seasons and Kevin talks like this, and then like by the end of the series he's like this. Yeah. Like, what happened?
And then it's like, number 1, The Office was a UK show first. You're like, I fucking hate you that I got on the number 1, and it's the most obvious goddamn thing of all time.
I love that Ricky Gervais was on like 2 episodes. Mm-hmm. And like they just kind of like shoehorned him in there, like he ran into Michael Scott, and they talked about like how offensive their characters were, and like Ricky Gervais tried to like cover it. It's just comedy. It's like you can't take a joke, and Michael just like hugs him, and that was the end of it.
What was your favorite Michael moment in that show?
Oh God, there's so many.
If you had to do your Babel top 2. What would
oh my God, I don't know.
I mean, frying his foot on the bacon was on the George Foreman grill.
I kind of feel like when like he kind of started getting mad that everybody was worried about Kevin having skin cancer, and he was just kind of like getting perturbed because it was his birthday. That's one of my favorites.
Or him and Dwight fighting in the karate class.
Maybe when he beat up Dwight. That was pretty funny. What else? When he hit Meredith with his car. That's probably like everybody's favorite episode of that show.
Yeah.
Or one of my favorites is when he gets fired from Dunder Mifflin. And he sneaks back in to steal the client list, and
he's crawling.
And the whole time he's like, "Everybody, shut up! I don't have a lot of time." And Idris Elba just comes around the corner, and it's just like, "Hey, come on, Michael, we gotta go."
Who's he dragging? Phyllis. He's dragging Phyllis.
Yeah.
That's an amazing show.
Or when he kisses Oscar, that's another classic.
This is happening, and he just.
It's like, I'm sorry, this is happening.
They said that Oscar actually, that was improv, that he was actually not supposed to kiss him. That was something
I was reading about that. The character, the guy who plays him, the Oscar Nunez, I can't pronounce anything, I'm sorry, by the way. He did not know until that episode that his character was going to be gay.
Really?
Like, it was always just hinted at, but it was never like, because I think he's either straight or bisexual. I don't know exactly what he is, but he didn't know that he was going to be gay. And when he found out, he was like, all right, cool. Yeah. That's cool. And he was actually the only gay character on a sitcom for the longest time until like about 2012. Mm-hmm. And it was like a big thing at the time.
When Jim sent them a metal detector, and it was the gaydar.
Yeah.
And it beeped at Oscar's belt buckle. HR says there is one gay employee, or one employee that has a criminal record in the very beginning, and it was the only black dude. And Mike was like, "Why did it have to be him?" Yeah, I love that show. I watched it too many times.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and then like I said, I was one of those people. We talked earlier about the Parks and Recreation.
Yeah,
I was one that didn't want to like it because, like I said, it just didn't. It was supposed to scratch that office itch, and it didn't. And then I stuck with it, and I'm glad I did. It was a fun show.
Yeah, it's like I mentioned this earlier when we were talking. It's like they're both good shows.
Yes.
I can't pick a favorite. But here's the problem with both of them. The beginning of Parks and Recreation, the first 2 seasons, are too much like The Office. Then it becomes the goofy sitcom it's supposed to be. Mm-hmm. The problem with The Office, it's a great show. The last 2 seasons are too much like Parks and Recreation.
Yeah.
I guess they were like, well, we got gold with Parks and Rec. Why don't we make The Office more like Parks and Rec? And then it's like what's going on here? This was supposed to be like a documentary kind of feel thing. Now everybody's got like their own goofy things going on. Yeah. And it's like, it's too much.
Mm-hmm. Ron, son, I want to make sure you heard me correctly. I want all of the bacon and eggs that you have. Not a little, not a lot.
He's
all of it.
He honestly he might be my favorite character on that show, just because it's like, I feel like Nick Offerman is purposely doing like a really good caricature of a libertarian.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what he's supposed to be.
Mm-hmm. His new Sling commercials are funny too, where it's him and his wife one of his wives from the show, and they promote Sling TV, but they're like swingers, but they're called slingers. It's hilarious.
I know the girl who plays Tammy too.
Tammy too, yeah.
That's his real life wife.
Yeah, well, they're in the commercials together. Yeah. But yeah, Tam. Oh my God, he'd be like, she's here. He has like a sixth sense that knows that she's there in the show.
Isn't the woman who plays his first wife, doesn't she play Dwight's babysitter in The Office? They probably look exactly the same. I'm probably wrong.
It might. I have to look back at that.
I'd have to check that.
Yeah,
because I know sometimes they use a lot of the same people.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously with the girl who plays Karen Filippelli and Ann Perkins are the same exact person.
Yeah,
but we talked about this in the car, me and Katie, earlier. On The Office, nobody liked her because everybody wanted Pam and Jim to get together. But on Parks and Rec, you loved her because she was Ann Perkins. She's like
I liked her in The Office too.
Yeah, I thought she was okay.
Yeah, I thought she was a good girlfriend. I thought Jim fucked up.
Yeah.
I would have stayed with Karen.
I mean, yeah, you got to follow your heart, man.
Yeah.
At least that's how I feel about it.
Yeah.
You know,
she'll play video games with you. You know what I mean? She's you don't have to.
Well, I mean, Pam would do the same thing. But I mean, Karen kind of just got caught in the.
She was a rebound girl. Yeah,
that's basically.
I feel bad for what happened to Karen, more or less. Like, I think Pam and Jim obviously ultimately deserved to be together, but I thought Karen was in a shitty spot.
Yeah, same thing with Andy's fiance or whatever. Mm-hmm. That whole I talk about that all the time too with Andy and Aaron. They're both shitty people, and they really deserved each other.
Well, Aaron's not very smart either.
No, they both kind of were like, oh, this is a good idea, and then it was like, I think they both kind of knew inside that it was not a good idea, but they just really wanted it to be, and they both fucked up at separate times.
And I think they're both, I think if you went back and looked at Andy and Aaron, they're definitely both on the spectrum.
Oh, yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, she didn't know, neither one of them can handle, like, real-world situations at some point.
Yeah.
And then you throw anger issues on top of it with Andy. Like, he was like a time bomb.
Yeah.
He was, they were interesting.
Yeah, he did not like that wall.
No, they actually built that wall for that episode. So if you watch the earlier seasons, there was no wall between the office and the conference room.
You know what's weird? Like, you don't realize until the episode where they make Jim co-manager, there's no office that he sits in, like, the first, 4 or 5 seasons. Mm-hmm. That was built, I guess, for that episode.
Yeah.
And it just stays there. They're like, all right, well, that's going to stay there now. It's like, I don't know what was there. It was like Ryan's desk was there.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah, they just kind of, put it there.
And, a blank billboard with, one thing on it.
Mm-hmm.
Being... This might be a good segue into talking about video stuff, but before I started directing things like music videos and short films and doing animation and stuff, I wasn't big on the whole consistency thing. Now I will watch things and I'll be like Game of Thrones. It's like, hey, there's a coffee cup there.
Yeah.
That wasn't there in the last scene. What's it doing there now?
She's not wearing the same shirt.
Yeah. Not wearing the same shirt.
The blood's on the other side of her face now.
Exactly.
Yeah, the small things.
Yeah.
They're the small things that make or break videos, too.
Yeah. That's the kind of stuff that bothers me. If it's okay, for instance, in the skin suit video, nobody noticed this except the guitar player Keith. In the one scene when Jeremy, who is the killer, is killing all the people in the bar, the guy who dies first shows up in the background in the second or third death. He's just in the background drinking a beer.
Oh, I didn't.
Nobody notices. Nobody noticed that.
Now everyone's gonna see it.
I'm really good with pointing that stuff out. I did not catch that. I think what happened was I had them done separately, and then I switched them because it worked better for me.
Yeah.
Because Dave with the big monkey head was running away. That's Dave, by the way, in that video with the monkey head on. He's running away from Jeremy. He ran away. I thought that would work better. The video comes out, we got 1,000 views, everybody loves it. They're like, oh, this is the best video you did. Stupid Keith is like, oh, he's coming back from the dead. And I'm just like, oh man, now I gotta take it down and redo it. And I was like, nah, I'm gonna keep it.
Yeah, 100%.
I don't want to redo it.
Yeah, I wouldn't have redone it either. It is what it is at that point.
Oh, it's beautiful. I think it kind of helps with giving it the like my friend's new cult said. It's so bad that it's good. Yeah, it's got that B movie role.
The B movie, yep.
Kind of feel to it.
Because that's the small things in B movies that make them stand out. You're like, oh my god, they didn't do that. That one thing, yeah. But so where are you grow? Are you originally from the area here? Where were you born and raised?
Born and raised in Hazleton. Mm-hmm. Still live there. Pretty much never really moved anywhere. I didn't really see a need to. Everybody tells you, if you were going to get into doing film or animation or comics, you need to move to New York. It's why do you need to move to New York?
Where we are right now, I always tell people, especially if they're in a band or they're trying to do anything, you're 3 hours away from 3 meccas.
Yeah,
you're 3 hours away from Philly, New Jersey, and Philly, New York, and Pittsburgh.
I always tell people that. I say, because people say that to me. I'm like, why? If you live in Northeast Pennsylvania, you can drive to New York City. You can drive to anywhere. Mm-hmm. Honestly, Philadelphia. I mean, I've done it. I mean, I sometimes, if I have a show with, the band or something, or a solo show, it's 2.5 hours away. That's fine for me. I can do 2.5 hours, there and back. Mm-hmm. No problem. I've done shows where I've driven to Baltimore, Maryland, played a show at, 10 o'clock at night, and it drove back 2 in the morning, and got up for work at 6 the next day, and I was still able to get out there and play the show, Mm-hmm. It's cool because you're not breaking the bank living in these big cities, because these big cities know that people are going to think that live in those cities and they're going to gouge the rent.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're going to be like, oh, well, rent's like $1,000 a month here.
Yeah, I like going to hang out in cities. I would never want to live in one.
Me either. I like living in small town Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Where at in Hazleton are you? Are you in the city, Hazleton Heights?
I'm in. I wouldn't say the Heights. I'm more uptown, I would say.
Okay.
I don't live in the Heights. I don't live in the city. I'm more in like the suburb area, like up by St. Joe's Hospital.
Okay.
It's nice because I used to live in more downtown, and I kind of grown accustomed to the Hispanic population. You know, we have a lot of a lot of racist, ignorant people there.
100%.
I does not bother me. I love living, near that kind of environment.
I think it's a cool way to learn about someone else's culture.
Yeah, it's awesome because I used to live next door to 3 Hispanic families, and I loved it to death because it's like Cinco de Mayo. You go outside, everyone's blasting music. Your neighbor's like, "Hey, you want to come over? We're making goat on the grill or something like that." I'm like, "Hell yeah, I love goat."
I've never had it, but I'll eat it.
It's really good, actually.
Yeah. So I used to work at American Eagle, and one of my favorite things that I was super proud of with that company that they did was they were one of the first companies in the area that said, if you know no English, like Spanish speaking only, we will hire you and give you a job in Hazleton, and we'll give you an opportunity. And it helped a lot of people that were bilingual to get jobs. It helped a lot of people, like it just gave people an opportunity, and I'm about that, man. I'm not one that says speak English. Like, no, we're a melting pot. Like America, regardless of how you want to spin your racist web, if you're that type of person, every type of culture came here for an opportunity, and I don't understand why now we're so close to not have that. Listen, I get border control. It's a 50-50 thing. You know what I mean? Yes, you can't just have people come in here by the masses, but on the same thing, you can't make it so impossible to get your citizenship either.
Yeah, exactly. That's a big problem. Like, honestly, I don't think you need to build a wall. Something that would be more helpful would be having like what you have at Ellis Island. Mm-hmm. Like at Ellis Island, they had the boats coming over and the people signing up for citizenship. That would be beautiful, but no, we have to have someone in office that wants to, just not let anybody in.
Yeah, and another spoiler, I'm not a political guy, and we never really got into political topics here, but all the drugs of the world aren't coming from South America. Just putting that out there.
Yeah.
Most of it's probably coming in by boat.
Probably coming, honestly, from Berwick.
Yeah, honestly. It's all coming from Berwick.
All of it in the world.
All of the drugs in the world are coming out of Berwick. But yeah,
I'm saying the Susquehanna River's right there. They're probably just scooping up water and throwing it in vials and sending it out.
But yeah, I met a lot of really cool Hispanic families and people that from the Hazleton area at American Eagle, and to this day we're still amazing friends, and we learned a lot. Like, regardless of, every culture is different, and I don't even care if you're like, even white people are different. Like, if you were raised Irish and you were raised Polish,
right,
you have 2 different backgrounds,
right?
But because we all have the same skin tone, we all think we're absolutely the same.
Oh yeah.
There is differences in everybody and different cultures and stuff. But if you boil people down to, at the end of it, we all just want a good life. We all want to be respected and treated equally and given opportunities, and that's really what it comes down to, regardless of what your background, nationalization, or I don't know.
Right.
One of those days. But yeah, it is what it is. But that's cool that you're definitely on that board of having
Oh yeah, I've gotten called out before with some of my comic stuff where it's just like it's one of the episodes of Crusty and somebody says it's just like, what's punk rock about this? They're all white people, and I'm like, well, hold on a second, buddy. I try to represent everybody in my comics. Ignorance is Bliss, the new comic I have. I try to go. I don't really try to say go out of my way, but I try to include everybody in that too.
But you're also writing about a culture that you are more familiar with.
Yes,
and the punk rock culture is something that is more up your wheelhouse. And Hazleton at one point in time wasn't always. It was a very white neighborhood, so you're kind of building off what your surroundings are. I always tell my friends, they say, why do you like punk rock music? And I say, punk rock is white hip-hop. And they say, what do you mean? I said, in hip-hop, a lot of it is storytelling of how you're poor and you're just trying to get by and you're being held down by the rich. punk rock music is poor white people trying to do the same exact thing, but it's the same message but a different style of music.
Yes. See, I have a friend that I work with, and when he was growing up, he was really into the hip-hop scene.
Mm-hmm.
And we've talked about this multiple times. It's like, it's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's just the music's a little different.
Same with country.
Yeah.
Country is majority poor white people from the South who are just trying to except there isn't so much that they're being held down. Because hip-hop, no, I'm not going to say anarchy, but punk rock and hip-hop have the same thing where they're going against, they're fighting the power. Like they kind of have that rebellious attitude to both styles of music. That's why I like both so much. But then it got to the point where both genres of music, people were doing it just to do it, to say they were part of a scene, and then they went a little too excessive, like, oh, I'm super edgy, I'll kill somebody, but you weren't doing any of that. You're just trying to sell records at that point.
Exactly. It's like that episode of, I don't know if you're familiar with Trailer Park Boys, where J-Rock, who's a white rapper who lives in the Sunnyvale trailer park, he purposely got arrested so they would take his photo of him getting arrested for his next album.
Yeah.
And he was like, it's just like, oh, you're going to go in the joint for a couple of months, you're going to come out, you're going to be hard, you're going to sell records. He was in there for like the weekend, and he ended up having to live under somebody's porch.
Yeah, so nobody could see him.
Yeah, so because he wanted everybody to think he was in jail.
Yeah, that's a great show as well.
Yeah.
Bubbles is fucking hilarious.
Oh, yeah.
I'll fucking leave. How does he say it? I'll fucking lay one on you.
I'll fucking lay one on you, lady.
Yeah, I love that show.
Put that away, Randy. Nobody wants to see that. Put your pants back on.
I mean, fucking cheeseburger, you're fitting in that thing. But so, Hazelton, growing up, were you always into the music scene, or?
Honestly, this is weird. This is kind of like the nexus point of my life, because I do a lot of video work, animation work, band stuff. I got into music because of my art, which is really cool. I used to actually be on the wrestling team when I was growing up, and I used to sit next to this kid named Tyler in my homeroom every morning. And around this same time, like my love of like animation and comics started like coming through. So I used to like stop really paying attention in class so much and start like drawing my book every day. Like I draw comics in my book every day. And people were like, "You're really good at that. You should keep doing that." So eventually I got pretty good at it, and I came up with this idea of like Xeroxing the comics and selling them to my classmates. And I started getting more into doing that. And my buddy Tyler's like, he would always hand me flyers to shows. He's like, "Hey, Focha's playing this. You should come see him." Or No Service Project. And I'm like, I'm not interested. I don't want to go see that. And he's like, "Well, if we give you a table to sell your comics, will you go?" And I'm kind of like, it's a really cool offer. I'm like, yeah, I'll go. So I went the one day. I think I sat at the table to sell comics for like maybe like 20 minutes. And then I went up and started listening to all the bands and stuff, and it's kind of like next thing you know, I started going to shows every weekend. Kind of figured out where I fit in that whole scene, and like it was cool because like the music scene helped with my comics, and my comics helped me with the music scene, like helped me fit in, give me my own identity. And nowadays it's like I couldn't imagine a life with one without the other, because like I've tried doing like art without the music aspect, and it just didn't feel right for me. And the same thing, like I tried just being a musician and not doing anything with like animation or comics or anything like that, and it just didn't feel right for me. It's like I always need both to kind of keep me afloat, as opposed to just doing one or the other. Like it just doesn't feel right for me.
Yeah. What were some of your animations growing up that inspired you to draw?
I was actually, like I was telling you earlier, when I was young, I just would watch all sorts of cartoons. I was really big into Nicktoons. It was a big thing for me. I was really big into Invader Zim. That's kind of the one that was the tipping point for me.
It's coming back.
Yeah, I'm very excited.
Netflix.
A lot of people will see my earlier stuff, and they will straight up say, they're like, "You ripped off Jonan Vasquez." I'm like, it was an inspiration, like an influence, yes. You look at my stuff now, completely different. But he's a big influence on me. Like when I found out that Jonan Vasquez has had comics, I was like, I got to get into that. And I started getting into Johnny the Homicidal Maniac, Squee. Jellyfist is another one I'm a big fan of. And I Feel Sick. I started getting into that, and I'm kind of like, I see how people are saying I kind of have a style too similar to his, so I started changing things up.
You could definitely, your influences can definitely come out in your, like, I mean, everyone jokes around. I get all the names in the world. They call me Stern, Tony Stern, or I get Tone Rogan. But they're the two. There are two influences that I like. I enjoy both of those sit down interviews, and I like the conversation they do in their podcast.
Yeah, it's the same thing with music. Like my music is highly influenced by a lot of '90s punk.
Yeah,
it's there, it's obvious. But like I'm still, I do a lot of the folk punk stuff too, so that kind of bleeds out too. And I'm like super into the weaker thens, so it's kind of, you throw everything in a pot and you get something unique.
Yeah,
and a lot of bands are like that. Like NoFX, when they were coming up, they were like super into like Bad Religion and L7 and stuff like that, and that shows in their music.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I was a lot into like Joan and Vasquez. Like I was saying earlier, really big into video games. So a lot of that art, like that's what I would do. Like when I was a kid, I wanted to design video games, but I didn't realize what I wanted to do was design the art for video games
and not program
it. So I would like copy like all sorts of characters. Like I'd take the instruction booklets and I'd like copy like all like the bad guy. Remember they had the list of like the bad guys and like the characters. I used to copy them, and then like the backgrounds and stuff. And then like I'd start coming up with my own characters, which were obvious ripoffs. But now like nowadays like I got good enough where it's like my stuff has its own unique voice, but I still like a lot of like my video work, like the backgrounds, they're super Sonic the Hedgehog inspired.
Yeah,
and like I love that because like that was like a big thing for me growing up. And the fact that like it shows in my work, it's really nice.
I like that attention to detail stuff too. So like especially with this, like people are like, oh, you have stickers on your table. The stickers I put on here, there's not a meaning for everyone, but there's reasons that there's ones on top more than others. Like the background here, I always try to change that up to put like hints of something else. Like when I was doing the interview with Courtney Smith, the first time we were Facebook friends, but it was one of those situations where we were Facebook friends and we would see each other in public but not say anything to each other.
Right.
And I was like, you know what? Like I hate the fact that it's like that. So I think we just went up one day to each other and like, we're Facebook friends. And we're like, yeah. And we had a conversation. She goes, you do a podcast? I was like, yeah. She goes, I like it. She goes, can I be on it one day? And I was like, and everyone tells it to me, but when people tell me at a bar, I just kind of dismiss them because they're like, okay, you probably had a couple drinks and you're just telling me that because now you have like, but if I message you in 2 weeks and try to book you, you're probably not going to do it.
Yeah.
But she walked up to me and she goes, I want to be the Alex Jones to your Joe Rogan. and I looked at her, I'm like, are you trying to say you're weird? She goes, yes, I'm a very weird person and it would be fun to just ramble on your show for a while. I was like, all right. So her just saying I want to be the Alex Jones to your Joe Rogan is funny.
Yeah.
So then before her show aired, that's when Alex Jones and Joe Rogan had their rekindling, and Alex Jones wore that NASA shirt, and he's freaking out about the lizard people. And so I found on Etsy that NASA shirt, and I hid it like in the background for weeks.
Oh man!
And then she came on the show, and I gave her the shirt.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's funny. I'm still in Condition Oakland. I'm not going to say when I was in Condition Oakland.
Yeah.
When we were when we would tour and stuff and like we were recording, the one thing that everybody in the band, specifically Bobby and Tyler, for some reason they were super obsessed with how bad InfoWars was.
Yeah.
And when we recorded Burial Grounds, we stayed over Bobby's house and a lot of we watched a lot of InfoWars and how bad it was.
Yeah.
We're like this is so bad.
It's like watching a train wreck.
This guy, I was honestly convinced for a time that Alex Jones was a character actor. He made up his entire backstory and threw it on Wikipedia, and that's what he was. He was just a character actor, like how Borat was. And he just had everybody so convinced, even himself, that he was a real person, that's how real it was to everybody. But I still believe he was a character actor,
which would be genius.
Yeah, honestly, it is genius. Anyways, when you went to do the 3 videos for Welcome to Hell, Not Done, and Palette Veins, we actually used an episode of InfoWars as the lighting for the opening sequence to Welcome to Hell, when Joe Watkins is kind of getting up and brushing himself off and chugging Ham's beer, that's another whole story with the Ham's beer, why that's there. But like you said, paying attention to detail, that's kind of what that is. Like, I like to throw a lot of like references to things in my work.
That only certain people are gonna know what it means.
Yeah. Like in my video for Angels and Apes, people who pay attention to detail, Krusty Keenan actually appears in that. I appear in that as well. Tyler appears in that. 3 members of Apes Estate appear in that video as well, and Billy Mack from the Coffee House Without Limits, they all appear in there.
Yeah.
And I think maybe like once or twice somebody was like, oh, hey, I noticed that. And I was like, cool, I'm glad somebody else did besides me.
Yeah.
But it's fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think, I'm pretty sure in like a lot of my other video work too, like in Skin Suit, I'm pretty sure there was a Condition Oakland sticker here or there. I know there's an LMI sticker there.
Yeah.
They're really
It's like little
cool.
Easter eggs.
Yeah, little Easter eggs.
I love that kind of stuff.
Me too.
Yeah.
I always love that stuff. I love throwing it somewhere in my videos all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, but going back to being obsessed with the backgrounds in video games, I remember being a kid and I'd be like, I got like the old Mario, like, well, what are those, like, the Toadstools and the Koopas, and like you go back and you're like, then you become obsessed with the background characters' names are like the Sonic.
Yeah.
I don't remember all the Sonics, but I remember everyone, like the turtle and the rabbit and then the drill thing, like everyone,
Yeah.
they all had their own names and stuff, and it was always that attention to detail.
Right.
I had like this weird allergy thing that's killing me.
Yeah, I love how like when they do like film stuff of that, like you'll hear those things pop up and you're like, whoa, I know what that is.
Mm-hmm.
Like when they did the crappy Mario Brothers movie and they called the little guys Goombas, it was like, oh, I get it because I play the game.
Mm-hmm. So what type of crowd were you involved in growing up in high school? Were you like, you said you were on the wrestling team? Were you more on the sports crowd?
I got in to the wrestling team because like that's what I was a big wrestling fan when I was a kid. So I'm like, I want to be a wrestler.
And then you joined the team. You're like, this is nothing like I thought it was.
I was good because I was an angry kid. And like I had no friends really, and that's all I did. Like everybody kind of just made fun of me. I'm like, well, fuck you. I'm just gonna do this. So like the one summer, I just worked out all summer, and I came back the next year, and I was an angry kid, and like I just beat the crap out of everybody.
Yeah, I wish I would have done wrestling.
My record that year was like 9-2.
Wow. And
I won like a medal for 4th place, in like states, and it's cool. I still have the medal somewhere. But then like it sucks because like after that then I started getting into the art thing and I kind of was less into the wrestling thing, and I still had no friends. But when I started getting more into like the art and the punk rock scene, then I started getting friends. Like I started doing a band, I started talking to people, like I kind of like found out where I fit in like between 10th and 11th grade.
Yeah.
I started getting into the whole punk rock scene. And that was kind of helped me realize what it was like to have friends.
Yeah.
Nowadays, it's like normal people, I can't click with normal people. It's like I always kind of gravitate towards, the fringe culture. That's why I'm still doing what I do, like the whole, like the whole scene thing. Because like that's who I get along with, because we were all like, that's how we were. We were like all outcasts when we were kids.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of like gravitating towards each other. It's really cool.
Yeah, I was the same way. Not many friends at first, and then I got to a point where I just kind of got sick of it and just kind of did my own thing. But then I became like a huge social butterfly, like out after school, and then I just kind of did my I just did the same thing. I could fit it anywhere. Like I could talk sports, I could talk video games, I could talk wrestling, I could talk video games. Like I kind of always like a jack of all trades type thing. But I'm just gonna grab a quick water real quick.
Okay.
Like I'm like dying real fast. You sure you guys want water or anything? You guys good? Water. You want one?
Graham cracker.
How many of those did you eat?
Well, I bought 6.
How many are left?
5 after this one. I know you can't one. Do you want one?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Chocolate covered graham cracker.
Sounds awesome. I may take you up after the show's over, unless you get really hungry.
No. I'll put here for it.
We actually do the other show. We do things that weren't cool in high school, we'll find snacks like that, or like, hey, the new M&M's out, or like we found a Toy Story cereal, and we'll just like eat snacks during the show.
That's cool.
Yeah, because the things that weren't cool in high school, everyone's like, well, why do you call it that? I'm like, because when I was in school, if you told people you were into professional wrestling or you were a fan of wrestling, you got made fun of for it.
Yeah.
And if you were like, I like playing video games, everyone else played video games, but you weren't supposed to talk about it. Like,
right, exactly.
And then like around the lunch table, you're like, oh, you got the new Gushers? Can we? And like, I don't know. So that's why I kind of wanted to bring that back to like a part of childhood that's not around anymore.
I think I found this out the other day. I'm gluten free, so
Really?
I got like dietary restrictions. I found out a couple months ago that the Batman cereal was gluten free, and I'm like, wow, that's really
There's a new Batman cereal out?
no the old one
Oh,
from the '90s, like when the movie came out.
oh wow.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was gluten free.
I have a box of the Batman movie cereal that came out with Batman vs Superman,
Oh man.
and I heard it was disgusting. And so I was like, I'm not buying it. And then a guy from work was like, you're a big Batman fan. He bought me a box of it, and I just have it as like displayed in my house, like up my gaming room. And then like in my fridge, I have like 4 cases that I won't drink. They're probably gross now, but I won't get rid of them. But I have like 4 little cases of Ecto Cooler. Remember when it came back out for the Ghostbusters
yes,
movie?
I remember.
A couple years ago.
Tyler from Condition Oakland he was really big into Ecto Cooler.
Yeah.
Him and Stoyer from Sluggernaut. I think I don't know, one or the other sold a case of Ecto Cooler to them.
Yeah.
It was so funny. Like when that came out, Tyler was like super like into Ecto Cooler.
Yeah,
It
it's
was
so
great.
delicious. Like I still have 2 big things of the juice boxes in my fridge.
Man, that's
I don't know if they're still good. Maybe we'll try it and see if we all get sick
What
one day.
was the other one? The Ninja Turtle cereal. That was another one.
Yeah.
I remember that very fondly when I was a child.
I did the Ninja Turtles do have these. It was kind of like a Dunkaroo, but the one half had slime, or they had some type of slime candy for the Secret of Ooze.
I think I remember that. Yeah.
I just remember it being gross.
Oh yeah.
It was really, really, really gross.
Yeah. You know what's funny? Now we're talking about this stuff. You know what did come out that I heard was coming back for a long time, and I didn't see it until like a couple months ago, like 2 months ago maybe. Jolt Cola.
Yeah.
When speaking about growing up, when I was a kid, I used to walk down to the pantry quick on Diamond Avenue, and I would buy 2 Jolt Colas, and I'd go and I'd play video games. I probably had like a bag of like pizza whatever things they were. Remember those?
The pizza combos.
The pizza no, they're like some pizza chips from Nabisco or something like that.
Oh, I didn't know. I don't remember the pizza. I remember when the pizza combos came out, and everyone was like, "Pizza combos."
Probably had pizza combos at some point, or 3D Doritos even maybe.
Yeah, and pizza. When pizza Pringles came out.
Oh yeah, I remember those.
Yeah.
Or like, oh my god, you remember those? They had ketchup flavored Heinz chips.
Yeah,
They were pretty good too.
I wouldn't eat those.
I thought they were good.
You're like Frankenstein from Big Daddy. What do you eat? Ketchup.
30 pack.
But yeah, like I'd go down and I'd get them, and like that's what I would do like before I like play like a night of video games, and then me and Katie, we walk into Sheets, and I look up and I'm like, oh my god. She's like, what is it? I'm like, they have it. They finally have it. I drank the Jolt Cola. This is what happened. I drank it. I got really amped up for whatever I was doing. I crashed, and then after I crashed, I came right back up again, and I'm like, what is this? I don't know what to do with all this energy now.
I remember when Crystal Pepsi came back.
Yes.
And I was so excited, and then I drank it, and I was like, this is fucking gross.
I love Crystal Pepsi. The first time it came back, I bought that stuff. Like if a store had like 5 or 6 of them, I'm like, I'll take them all.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put them in my fridge, and I just drank the crap out of them.
I was so pumped for it, and I tried. I was like, man, I remember loving this as a kid, and I was like, I don't like this at all.
I like it. Actually, one of the, I don't know if I have it on my head here.
Oh,
One of the
yeah.
Tedd Hazard pins.
Yeah, it's a Crystal Pepsi. Yeah.
Yes, that was started as a joke. I was talking to I think Bobby or Leitzel from Condition Oakland, and I'm like, you know what would be cool? A Tedd Hazard logo that was the Crystal Pepsi logo. And they're like, that's stupid. I came out with it, and they're like, nah, that's not stupid at all.
Stupid, yeah.
I could see that on a shirt.
So you do like you can make stuff like that, just small logos, like quick, easy logos like that?
Oh yeah, I'm a big like I said, like in addition to doing animation, and I probably didn't actually say it on here yet, but in addition to animation and video work, I do a lot of graphic design for bands.
Nice.
Like shirts and stuff. I just finished up doing the logo for Dirty Scoundrel Record Collective.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool.
You ever do logo spoof? Well, like you did the Crystal Pepsi.
Oh yes, I do logo spoofs all the time.
So we did a logo spoof. My buddy that does it, Nikolai, he's normally here, but he's been so busy with stuff. But I want to get a logo spoof of our Tornado Tag podcast. But I want it to look like this, like the SummerSlam logo.
That's cool.
Yeah, like so I want it. Like I told him, I gave him a bunch of ideas. Said I want the Tornado Tag podcast, but instead of where the WWE logo would be, I want our microphone.
Yeah.
And then I want one of SummerSlam. We did WrestleMania, except when he did it, he didn't do like the S's. Like we kind of made it look similar, but didn't go overboard, so we didn't get in trouble. So I want like the old school Raw, like
That's
the
cool.
Raw is War or whatever. The old SmackDown, a SummerSlam. We have in the works. A Royal Rumble and a King of the Ring.
That's cool.
Like those, like those are my favorite logos of all time back in the day.
Yeah, I did that with obviously the WrestleMania logo. That's just a straight rip off of the WrestleMania logo. Have not gotten contacted by WWE yet. I'm waiting for it, but usually when it's either like they'll sue somebody, or they'll be like, oh, we're gonna sue you for this much, or you could work for us. That's usually what happens.
Yeah, or they give you a cease and desist.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for the second one to happen, for them to say, hey, it'd be cool if you did this on the network.
Yeah.
And then everybody could hate me.
Yep.
Call me a sellout. I won't care.
If like that. If someone contacted me tomorrow and said, Tony, we want to sponsor your show, I'd be like, come to daddy.
Yeah.
And I even funny, like I started this podcast, like I was like, I don't want to be that podcast where you tune in and the whole first 35 seconds to a minute and a half of the podcast is, hey, do you wear underwear? Let's go to this link and put special code in this.
I'm a big fan of the gaming historian.
Yeah.
I love hearing about like history and stuff. I mean, obviously I knew what it was, but it was cool to like watch it, like when he did like the Sonic retrospective and like about systems and stuff like that. Now I watch it and it's like he'll say like at the beginning, it's like, oh, this is brought to you by this, but then you see it and you're like, oh, that's cool. And then at the end, it's like a 5-minute infomercial about like the Dollar Shave Club, and I'm like, what happened to this?
Yeah.
Like, give me a break.
The way I would probably do it is I would start the episode up normally, and I would say, hey, this episode is brought to you by this. And then I would do my episode, and then like halfway through it'd be like, yo, by the way, if you go to this place and type in this, and just quick like Howard Stern, like a quick like live ad, and then just go about it, and then like check out the description below, like one of those type things, because I hate like when you turn an episode on, you get to the point where like, oh, I know to fast forward to 1:30 because that's when the show actually starts. I don't want to get predictable. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They who else they do that on? They do that on some of the What Culture wrestling ones now too.
Yeah.
Like, and that kind of just bothers me.
Yeah.
I think I parodied something like that on an episode of Crest Tunes. The one episode, the recurring thing was like turnt energy drinks, and it was like they kept referring to turnt energy drinks, and it's just like an ad just blatantly shows up in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, that kind of stuff bothers me. Like, I mean,
I'm a What Culture fan too, by the way.
Yeah.
That's
it just pops up and you're like, you need something to watch like, on the way to work.
I like what's his name, that is it Simon Miller, the bald guy?
I'm not a Simon guy. I like the other. I used to like the other guy, Blumpy, until he had all that nonsense happen.
The guy who does ups and downs. The Billy Jack, he's a wrestler.
Yeah, I know who Simon is.
I like him.
Yeah,
he's like me. Like he's over positive to the point where it's annoying.
Yeah, I like what's the other guy though? The other guy, the other
British redhead guy.
British guy. Yeah,
they're
he's
funny.
good too.
They shit on everything.
And I like Cultaholic too. Cultaholic, I think it's a little funnier sometimes than What Culture, but it's supposed to be funny.
And then like Wrestle Talk is pretty funny too.
But what was the other guy? That Adam Blumpete or whatever. Like he was funny.
Yeah.
Until whatever happened, like he had like allegations.
He got allegations like sexual harassment, and he's been gone ever since.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I'm like dying. I had 15 beers yesterday. We did 2 back-to-back Bang and Beer episodes.
Oh wow,
and it was bad. Yeah,
it's like hard work.
I'm like paying for it. So you started. About what time did you start creating your comic books to the ones you have now online for people to?
I started Doing Crust Tunes. It originally was called Guts Crew Records because it was based on the record label that my friend Tyler Troutman runs. I started that like right after I got sober because I had a lot more time on my hands. I needed something to do.
Mm-hmm.
I was at the time I was working on, I did 2 graphic novels back to back. One was Life is Pain, which is now a short film. The other was Squid Life Crisis, which I would like to be a short film at some point. And like I had no like novel ideas in my head, so I'm like I need something to do. So I started just kind of like writing little comics about like little jokes I had with people like in the music scene, and it was all real people. So it was kind of like got to a point where it was like this is kind of getting offensive personally to some people. So at one point in the comic, I came up with this crappy little character named Krusty Keenan. Krusty Keenan is the everyman crust punk. Like he's a dirty kid. He doesn't shower. Originally, he lived in his car or in a dumpster behind the record label building. And then eventually, one day I just kind of pulled the trigger. I was like, all right, I don't want this comic to be about real people anymore. I want this comic to be about kind of just like punk rock archetypes.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so Krusty's he's your basic, you know, crust punk stereotype. And then his best friend Hawk is your punk elitist, and then you have punk rock friend number 3, who's the stoner drummer. Eventually, he turned into the douchebag drummer.
Is there a pop punk kid?
He's the pop punk kid.
He is?
Basically. Yeah, he turns into basically a Travis Barker type. Like, see, at the beginning... Well, anyways, I'm getting a little too far away from what I was talking about here. Basically, what happens is they find out at the record label that Krusty Keenan's only 16 years old, so they call child services, and he gets thrown back into school, and that's how the comic kind of reboots itself into being Crust Tunes, which is basically just, it's a comic about the everyday happenings of a local punk rock scene. But anyways, yeah, so he starts a band with the elitist punk Hawk, who's got a huge mohawk, and then punk rock friend number 3, who at the time was a stoner. Eventually, punk rock friend number 3 gets this shitty scene girlfriend. He cuts the sleeves off of his shirt, starts wearing a Misfits shirt and a backwards hat, and gets arm tattoos. Next thing you know, he's the pop punk kid.
I'm a pop punk kid all day long. That's right.
See, that was me when I was growing up with the scene and stuff. I was really big into skate punk, and ska punk, and then I just kind of got into pop punk like as a side thing. And when I started I had a band that was kind of like they called us a streetcore band because we were kind of like street punk but kind of a little hardcore.
Yeah.
When I started my own band, like where I played bass and wrote songs, it was a pop punk band basically. Yeah. So I'm very much kind of a pop punk kid. Don't know what I am now. I
listen to everything. It's so hard. Like I said, I can go from every type of genre of music. It's just like, I don't know. I just listened to that. You probably hate me for this, but I just listened to that for the first time ever because I'm really good at staying away from new stuff when it comes to music, unless I really dive into it. But I heard that old country, Old Town Road.
It's fucking banging.
It's awesome.
Isn't it?
I still haven't heard that song.
It's
It's good.
It's just good.
Yeah,
it's just good. You don't have to be of that genre. It's good.
It's hip hop country.
We were talking.
And I hate country.
I know.
Speaking of hip hop, we were talking about this the other day. I was in the car and I heard one of the songs from the new Aladdin movie, Will Smith.
Yeah.
I heard it and I'm like, you know what? This might be good because it's just Will Smith doing just remixes of Aladdin songs.
Did he rap it?
He did. Like, you think it's going to be, it's like the swing jazz song from Like Me. No, it goes like, straight in. It's just like hip-hop straight.
Like,
it's
parents just don't understand.
Pretty much. Pretty much. It's just Will Smith singing Disney songs with a hip-hop beat. And I'm like, you know what? I can get into this.
Is it Never Had a Friend Like Me?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to go look for that as soon as this is over.
And the Prince Ali one, which kind of played right after that, it's got, like, bass drops in it. What? So it's like this could work. The movie's probably hot garbage, but
I heard good things about it.
We were talking. Me and my friend Ronnie were talking about Will Smith the other day, and we're just like, everybody talks shit on Will Smith, but nobody can name a Will Smith movie they hate.
Yeah,
it's just like.
West.
No, I like Wild Wild West. It wasn't bad. It's like it was like, oh, Men in Black was terrible. No, Men in Black was pretty good. Men in Black 3 was actually a lot better than a lot of people think it was.
Yeah.
And
I'm sure I could probably think of one Will Smith.
Blight was a terrible movie. I hear. I've never seen it.
I didn't see it yet.
I haven't seen it.
I didn't see it.
Well, like that.
If you didn't if you sit here and tell me as a human being you didn't like Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, I don't. You don't have a soul.
Yeah.
Like you do. Well, you don't exist on this planet.
I brought up to him that After Earth movie where he did it with his son.
Yeah.
I said, "Is that one bad?" And he goes, "No, actually, that was pretty good." And I'm like, "All right, well, I guess."
You know who like that? Who's like that for me? Mark Wahlberg. There's not a Mark Wahlberg movie I don't like.
Yeah.
He's like my man crush.
Yeah. Well, everybody shits on the new Transformer movies. Both of them I enjoyed.
Yeah.
I thought the second one
Once he took over, I enjoyed them more.
Yeah. I thought the second one that he did was a little, like, derivative from the rest of them because it kind of just got a little goofy.
Yeah.
But then I was like, that's not bad. Anthony Hopkins was really good because he's just, like, in the car the whole time, like, going, "Move, bitch, get out the way."
Yeah.
With his little robot buddy.
Yeah, he's in some movies. Even if they're like stinker movies, I'm like, well, Mark did a good job. Like,
yeah.
But yeah, so the comic book scene. So you have it on Facebook, and then you have them on YouTube as well.
Yes. Let's get back to the comic book thing. Yeah, Crustoons practically started in 2013.
Mm-hmm.
That fall, I was trying to pitch a comic to a magazine, and I was like, punk rock ain't going to work for that, so I need like a everyday comic. So that's where Wine and Dine came from.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot of the experience I had in like the food service industry. So that's where that came from. That's still going strong, I guess. And then, like I was saying, WrestleMania I started a year ago, and Ignorance is Bliss just came out in April.
Nice.
And the first two and WrestleMania, they all have animated series that accompany them.
Yeah.
So they're all on the Hazard Studios Facebook, the YouTube channel.
So like someone can go back to the very beginning of season 1 of them and go on the Facebook and read them all?
Yes.
Cool.
Yes, they're all there. Like I'm pretty sure every single one I just threw up there.
Yeah, and do you have your music video? Like now your Hazard Facebook page, is that your comic books, your music videos,
yes,
the whole nine?
Everything.
So
the whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to throw it all up there just so everybody can just, if they want to watch it, they can just like binge it.
Yeah. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, well definitely, I'm definitely going to look. Like I said, they blend together for me because when I watch your post and then you'll put one and then the next one, and I don't know, I'm at the point where I can't determine which one's which, but I'm going to go back to the beginning. And
a lot of it is like, a lot of the color scheme is like what does it. Like,
yeah, it's your style.
It's funny, I learned from professional wrestling that a different color scheme means it's something different.
Yeah, if you put purple tape on rope, it's 205 Live.
Yeah, so Crustoons has more of like that kind of like brighter, like purple black kind of tone to it.
Fun fact of color scheme. So you can't really tell on this because it's not obviously the same color scheme, it's just the paint. So when I did the paint scheme for the tornado tag, I picked a blue and a red. And the red and the blue I got from, remember the old school plastic solid baby blue, like baby egg blue ring toy?
Yeah.
That's where I got the blue from.
That's
and
cool.
The red was from the ropes, like that faded like
That's
red.
cool.
That's where I got that color scheme
But yeah,
from.
so like the pink and the black, that's like Crustoons. Wine and Dine has kind of a blue feel to it, because I guess I was thinking SmackDown.
Yeah.
WrestleMania has like a yellow-green kind of vibe to it, and Ignorance is Bliss has kind of like I'd say more like a muted color kind of a feel to it, because I like the characters.
The old school, with like the old WrestleMania, the yellow and red, like that.
Well, more like I'd say like maybe like a tan and white kind of thing. Yeah, because I kind of want to. I took when I did that comic because that was a comic I purposely designed to get picked up by a syndication. Nobody would touch it.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, fine. Well, I'm just going to put it online because everybody seems to like it.
Mm-hmm.
But when I did that, one of the things I noticed was the backgrounds were way too busy. So I just kind of just like faded the entire color of the background, and it just worked because the characters pop so much better than the other comics on there. The other comics are just kind of set in their ways, so I'm just going to leave them be. But Ignorance is Bliss really works on a lot of levels. Like if you don't listen to punk rock, or you've never worked in a restaurant, or you don't like wrestling, you could read Ignorance and Bliss and be like, oh, I get this. Like, I mean, it's supposed to be a relationship comic, but it works, like I said, like on a lot of different levels. Like it's more or less geared towards millennials and like their everyday lives.
Nice. And you said you like to do a lot of callbacks. Sometimes some characters from some comics will meet up in other ones.
Yes.
So there's some cool blend in there if you're a fan of that.
Yes, like I said, like there is a couple Wine and Dine comics from a couple months ago where the WrestleMania guys pop up and kind of have a little feud with Chef Cookie from Wine and Dine. Recently, Tater Tot from Wine and Dine got arrested for huffing spray paint at the Charleston's department store in Ignorance is Bliss and got thrown into a guts-filled prison where he meets Krusty Keenan from Crustoons, and now he kind of just lives on Crustoons for the time being until he gets kicked out of that town.
It's like the multiverse.
Yeah.
They're all blending.
Yeah. I always actually, and I tell this to people all the time, I did plan at some point to do a huge crossover animated movie with everything like Crustoons, Wine and Dine, WrestleMania, and Ignorance is Bliss all in one thing. But right now, I wish I had more time to tackle that.
Well, you're working on that animated thing you're doing now.
Yes.
A music video. You kind of sent me a little teaser of it.
Yeah.
Wait for that to come out because I've only seen what was like a 2 minute or a minute and a half video. It's fucking awesome. It's really good.
Honestly, I do a lot of animated videos. I got into that because here's the story of how I got into doing animated videos and stuff like that. I started doing Crustoons the Animated Series in 2015. There's 3 seasons of it. I got really good at doing animation. I did Life is Pain, which is a short film about addiction, things like that. It was in the Jim Thorpe Film Festival. So at the time, I was just kind of like going at my own pace, just doing stuff to do it. And then Matt Pless, who's a singer-songwriter from Baltimore, Maryland, I've been friends with him for a couple of years. He sees, he knows what I do, and he goes, "Hey, I want some animation on my new video I'm doing with Chippy Pictures. You think he can help out?" And I'm like, I never did animation for somebody before, except for I did work on this little infomercial thing for my one friend Joe Barbati. So I was like, all right, cool, I'll do this. It took me a couple of weeks, but I did animation on it for him, and it's probably his most popular video to date. I didn't direct it. Jack Hurley from Chippy Pictures directed it, but I was able to help it out. Some porn star shared it on her Twitter feed, and now it's even bigger than it was.
Oh wow!
And it's just kind of cool
because porn star shares it, you're good to go.
Yeah, it's kind of cool because I'm I always know in the back they take a lot of the credit for it, but I always know in the back of my head I'm like I helped them with that, so that's really, really cool.
Do you know what porn star it was?
I don't remember.
Just seeing how
I don't remember
much you're up on your porn star culture. I may know a lot. My buddy's like, that one girl. I'm like, oh, her? He's like, you're fucking weird.
Said somebody RX something. I don't know.
No, I don't know.
I don't know offhand.
Yeah. One of my favorite podcasts is from a porn star, but she didn't start off as a porn star. She was always wanted to be a porn star and started in radio. She was on the Bubba the Love Sponge show, and she was the show whore. She would literally do anything you asked her to do. Not even in sexual ways. She would just, if it was funny, she would do it. And her name's Asa Akira. And then she went on to become a porn star. But then she does all these podcasts. But she's a genuine, she's actually very interesting to listen to. And she has she's funny, but she's also a porn star / podcaster. She's a pretty cool person. She has a show one where she's called Asa Asks Questions or Asuka, and she'll have somebody come on a topic she just wants to know more about, and she'll just have a conversation with them. It's pretty good.
So anyways, I did that, and then my whole thing was all right, I'm gonna get into doing season 4 of Crustoons, and next thing you know, the Twindos, they're a band from Harrisburg. Their singer asked her, she goes, "Hey, you want to do a video for us?" And I'm like, I never directed an animated music video before. I'm like, I guess. So I kind of just went into it. We didn't really have a story outline at the beginning. We just kind of wrote it as we went. It was 50-50, and the end product was probably one of my best videos to date. And from there, I just kept getting work, and now that's where I am at this point. I've directed about 15 or 16 music videos.
Nice.
So that's really cool, and 3 of them are animated. The one I did last year, Angels and Apes for Eric Fun, actually got nominated for a Jim Thorpe Independent Film Festival award. Actually, 2. I got nominated for Best Animation and Best Local Video, Local Hero, something like that.
Cool.
And it just won an Elevation Spotlight Award, which is really cool. It's like an online film festival.
I gotta check. I've only watched 2 of them before we started, but I didn't realize you had so many out.
Yeah, I like I said, like, I'll tell you what I did. This is like a big mistake. I'm gonna tell anybody. Everybody always goes, I always want to get an animation, and I told them, I'm like, don't. I'm like, save yourself. It's like that scene from Billy Madison.
Like, don't grow up.
Don't do it.
Be a kid forever.
It's like, don't get an animation. Draw comics forever. But yeah, like, I did that, and then I was so gung-ho to do the next one. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do this next video. I took a week off, and I went into it, and like a week into the next video, I was like, oh my god, this was a terrible idea. And like, I still get, sometimes when I work for so long on a video, because it's like, I'll work my day job in the morning, 7 to 3:30, and then at night, I will work on the animation and like not get any sleep. If I spend a long time on a video, like a couple of months, I will seriously get PTSD from doing that.
Yeah.
This is not to offend anybody with actual PTSD.
Yeah.
But I will sit there for a month and I'll just like binge watch The Office or Futurama or something. And I'm just kind of thinking to myself, I'm like, I could start that next video or I could not, because that's kind of scares the shit out of me.
Yeah.
With doing that kind of stuff, it gets real stressful, especially when you're like a one-man crew. Like, I'm like really, really thankful for when I do live action videos, I have a lot of people helping me out. When I do animated videos, it's all me. Like, I don't have a guy that does backgrounds. I don't have a guy that does character models. Like, a lot of like animated stuff you see, that's like 10 people or 3 or 4 people. Like, when you see like Family Guy or something, they have like hundreds of animators working on that. When you're somebody in a position like me who doesn't have a very big budget, working with like a lot of like local bands, it's all you. It's all on you. So like, I will spend like I sent you that video for Kevo Can't Dance. That scene where it's the throne room and the floor is going like, it looks like it's a real perspective and everything. That took me 8 hours to do that. And a lot of animation, like, for me at least, because what I do, I don't use Flash or nothing. A lot of my stuff is hand-drawn. It's manipulated by hand. Like, I don't mean like I stand there at the light table and move every character. Like, it's kind of like how South Park is. Like, everything's kind of like cardboard cut out, like different pieces and stuff. And I'll just kind of move it. But it's all hand-drawn by me. Like, all those characters and stuff, it takes me about 2 to 3 weeks to kind of like build a little world for those like characters to live in, and then I can finally start the video. And then like things like that, like scrolling scenes, that takes about like 8 hours, and designing a character takes about like 2 to 3. Yeah. Unless it's like really like a lot of moving parts, because that's what animation is. When I first started getting into animation, like, I didn't go to school or nothing for it. I taught myself. I always wanted to do animation. I tried using Flash and stuff like that. Couldn't figure it out. Watched a couple tutorial videos one day. When I figured out, oh, it's all moving parts. Yeah, I can do this. I kind of figured it out on my own and kind of built my own little way to do animations. Like, I use a bunch of different programs, and I one day I just figured it out. And then I progressively got better at it, and now I'm where I am. So to anybody looking to get animation, I'll just tell you right now, you will need a lot of time to get good at it. Yeah. And you need to have a lot of patience. If you have no patience, you're not even going to bother with it.
I have a buddy who does animation, stop motions, and stuff like that. And he actually teaches like after school programs with kids with it. He just made a whole stop animation where he built a Lego set for Jurassic Park, and then like literally he just filmed it. It's like beep, beep, beep. You see it like build itself. Yeah, that's like he said it took forever. He said imagine how long it takes to build a Lego set. Yeah, and then imagine how long it would take if you had to individually take a photograph of every single piece you put together.
I did
like I was like F that.
I was trying. Well, like I said, with Crustoons and everything, I was trying to get season 4 running. That was going to be way too much work. Like I couldn't do that on my own. Like with how much I want to do. So I got back into doing videos again. The opening of season 4 of Crustoons was, or probably will still be, it was supposed to be an episode of HoboCop, which is a fictional show on the show, and it's about a homeless person that was transformed into a robotic cop. I don't know exactly how that works, but anyways,
did he get shot 8 billion times like the real RoboCop?
I don't exactly know. I kind of want to make a film about his origins one day.
It should be just a full-blown RoboCop ripoff, except he's homeless.
Well, if you've ever seen any of the RoboCop films, you'll notice that the robot is all stop motion, which, like the giant robot that chases him through the office building. That honestly, to me, like I saw that when I was like, I watched those to like prep to do this scene, and I saw that, and I'm like, it would be cool if I did stop motion for the one character, and the one character was supposed to be like Mr. T, but he was like an evil cyborg Mr. T with a giant payphone on his back. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to the store and I'm gonna make a clay Mr. T robot, and I'm gonna do stop motion with my green screen for that and superimpose it over the animation. I tried doing it. I gave up in 3 hours. I was like, I'm just gonna animate this because this is bullshit.
I completely. I had something to say there and I completely lost it. Fuck. It had something to do with RoboCop or something. I forget what it was. Oh no, how you're saying how you just put that out to me, that was all stop motion.
Yeah.
Now I'm trying to like play the scene in my head, and now I can like, holy shit, that like now I can kind of think of that. But the original Child's Play, there's scenes if you go back and watch it where it's the doll, the Robotron, the robotic doll. There's scenes where it's just a doll. And then there's scenes where it's someone in a costume.
Oh, God.
So now knowing that, and you go back and watch the original Chucky, there's certain scenes where it's literally someone in a costume running down a hallway.
Ugh.
Like, it's... And people are complaining about the new one already. Like, shut up.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't envy people who do claymation. I tried it. I can't do it.
I like claymation when they do it in horror movies.
Yeah. Like Harryhausen stuff.
Like Hatchet.
That. Yeah. Like, I'm just going to stick with doing what I know how to do. Mm-hmm. Someday, if I get an animation team, and they know how to do that kind of stuff, I'm like, good. I'm going to tell you what to do. Do it, and then it'll be done.
Yep.
And hopefully in half the time, because now I have more people doing it, and then somehow it'll take twice as long. I'm like, how did this happen?
Yeah. It's incredible, like even South Park, that they do an episode in 7 days.
Yes, well, they have so many. Well, nowadays they don't do it in 7 days. That takes them a lot longer now.
Yeah.
Because a lot of their newer episodes are insane. Like, you see how much is going on there. Like, from an animator standpoint, I watch that now. Like, I envy South Park. Like when I was growing up, that's another big influence in addition to Joan Vasquez. When I was a kid, I tried doing that stuff myself. Couldn't figure it out. Now I know how to do it. But now that I watch it, and I'm like, I really like. It's very inspiring for me because I'm like, this is really cool. How they have so much going on here. But nowadays, I don't know if you saw the last season. They don't want to do it anymore.
Really?
Trey Parker, or was it Trey Parker, Matt Stone?
Yep.
The very last scene, I think they had a big graphic that said #cancel South Park. Because they don't want to do it. Because it takes from, because they want to do other projects. Like they did, what was the Book of Mormon?
Yeah.
They did that.
Well, they made the basketball movie.
They made the basketball movie.
I love that movie.
Team America. They want to do stuff like that. And it's like, nowadays, it's like, now they're like, they did 22, 23 seasons of South Park, and they're like, we don't want to do this anymore. Like, I'd feel the same way. I don't want to be like a director creator guy who does a show for 10, 20 years.
Mm-hmm. If they were to turn around and say, we're done with South Park, this is our last season, I'd be like, okay, I understand.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah.
Like, I hope for them. I don't know how many seasons they have. I think it's I think they're gonna end it at 25, 26, something like that.
Which is respectable.
But for me, as a creator myself, I'm glad that I'm kind of putting my animated series on hold because I don't want to be known as the guy that just does Crust tunes, because there's still people out there that go, oh, you did an animated video? That's cool. That's really interesting. I didn't see that. When's season 4 of Crust tunes coming out? I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah.
Like, I want to be a guy who does a lot of great things. Like I'll do like the seasons of Crust tunes, but then I go in and do a bunch of music videos, and people are like, oh, that's really cool. Like would people, I'm trying to think of a really good analogy. If Steve Carell wasn't on The Office for how many years, I'm pretty sure he would have actually won an Academy Award by now. But people see him in, like, what is that? He just did the Road to what was that? The one we did with the dolls? The Road to Morrowind, something like that.
I didn't know that one.
He just did this really big, like, drama film.
So I think if he never did The Office, he'd be the guy from Anchorman
with Robert Zemeckis. Yeah,
he'd be like the guy, or like Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, yeah. See, like if he would have kept doing like film roles like that, he would have been a very well respected actor. But then you have people like I'm trying to think, like Tom Hanks. He was on sitcoms in the 80s. You don't remember. You know why? Because he actually broke out and he did a bunch of films and became, reputable. Like, he won a bunch of Academy Awards, and now people know he's Tom Hanks, the actor. Not Tom Hanks, the guy from that sitcom no one remembers in the 80s.
Yeah.
Or it's like, who's another one? Woody Harrelson. Yeah, he was on Cheers for a couple years, but now people remember him as, Woody Harrelson, the actor.
Yep.
Like, I don't want to be that guy who's like, oh, it's Tedd Hazard, the guy who does Crust tunes. Now it's like, oh, it's Tedd Hazard, the guy who does all those kick-ass animated music videos.
Yeah.
That's...
Or even shooting your actual own live-action music videos.
That was another thing. There was a stigma with me. Somebody said this. I think it was Billy Mack. I showed him the one video. Like I had to do the video for Today We Fight for Peace, and I showed up with the camera, and he's like, oh, what are you doing here? I'm like, directing the video. He's like, I didn't know you did live action videos, and I'm like, thanks, because that's a stigma like I had to really fight to try to break for a while. I mean, I know my live action stuff is not as good as my animated stuff. It's good, but it's not as good.
If I was any of those bands and paid to do that music video, I'd be happy with it.
But yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Like I said, like it's a negative stigma for me. It's like oh, he just does animation. It's like Mike Judge.
Yeah,
Mike Judge did Beavis and Butthead for how many years, and King of the Hill. Then he did Office Space. Nobody knew he did Office Space.
Yeah,
they were like, oh, that's Mike Judge, the Beavis and Butthead guy. It's the same guy, or is a different Mike Judge?
Yep.
But then he did Beavis and Butthead to America, and it was still good. But a lot of the times it was like, it's like, I feel like Mike Judge also has that stigma to him. Like, everyone thinks like, oh, he just does animation stuff. But then like he'll do something like Extract and nobody will care.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, well, it's not Beavis and Butthead do America 2, Beavis and Butthead do Europe.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. Someone write that down. And then he'll do like, that's exactly what it's like. It's like a negative stigma. It's like, I feel like
typecasted.
Yeah, typecasted, basically. Like another one, Brad Bird. Brad Bird, he's a very prolific director for Pixar movies. He does live-action movies. Can you name them? No, you can't, because you don't know what they are. Because everybody will see, oh, the guy from Toy Story directed this. This can't be very good because it's not animation.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's like a negative stigma for directors,
Yeah, I could definitely see that. Yeah, but what are some projects you have coming up that you're looking forward to, or some things you would want to do in the future?
Right now, I'm working on a video for Kevo Can't Dance that you saw. It's called Candy Hearts and Razor Blades. It's really good. It took me... Me and Kevo talked for a couple of years about doing videos, but never kind of really had the right time to do it. And now the last month because I took a few months off because I had to recover mentally. I had a very big nervous breakdown because of some things that happened. But then I got back and I did palette veins, and people saw I was doing videos again. And Kevo said, "You want to do a video for me?" I'm like, "Cool, man. I'll drive out and I'll do it for you." And then a couple of weeks later, he's like, "So what if we did an animated video too, in addition to the live action video?" And I was like, "All right, where's the song?" He shows me the song, and I'm like, "What do you want the video to be about?" He's like, "I don't know. You come up with it, because you're really good at writing stories for videos." So it took me about 2 weeks to write this video. And I kind of came up with this very much Disney-esque kind of plot to it. about like it's kind of like a Romeo and Juliet kind of story about a ghost that is in love with this candy heart that lives in a castle across a sea of razor blades, and that's kind of where I'm going with it. And it's gonna get a little violent near the end, but it's a really good idea. But anyways, I think I'm halfway through with it, and hopefully it's gonna be out in July.
The animation reminds me a lot of just the way the castles and stuff look. It's like Super Mario Brothers a little bit.
Yeah, that's kind of exactly where I got that from. When I first started doing the castle, I was really much. I'm like, I kind of wanted it to look differently, like sort of like how Disenchantment. You ever see Disenchantment? Yeah, it's okay. It's not Futurama.
Yeah.
It's not The Simpsons. I kind of wanted to look something like that, but then I think I subconsciously went that way, and I'm like, this is going to look a lot better with the video. We don't need like a big, giant, crazy castle.
Yeah. I really like the song too. The song is really good.
Yes, Kevo is an amazing songwriter, and I'm really honored to work with him.
I would like to listen to more of his work.
Yeah, I'll send you a link when I get home. Anyway, so I'm doing that. We're going to be doing more Condition Oakland videos down the line. We want to do a video for some work he did on his new EP, Resistance Hymns. At least I want to. I don't know if Tyler wants to. Me and him, when we work together, we come up with a lot of good, like a lot of the writing is like 50-50. It's just, like I said, like we go and see a lot of films together and hang out a lot, and like we'll bounce story ideas off of each other. That's exactly where Palette Veins came from. Like that whole trilogy, we just bounced ideas off each other, and now we have a really good final product. More people I'm working with Kaiser Solzi from Rochester, New York. He's a singer-songwriter from up that way, very punk rock guy. Does a lot of work with, used to do a lot of work with the Vans Warped Tour. He wants to do, there's an episode of The Simpsons where they totally just trash upstate New York. He wants to do a rebuttal video with one of his songs for that. So that's something we're going to be doing in the near future.
One of my favorite bands is upstate New York band, Gym Class Heroes.
Oh, yes, Gym Class Heroes.
I like them a lot.
They're cool. I might be doing the next Treadwater video. I did another video, 2 videos for Treadwater. The last one was Dead Weight. We're talking about doing another one, but they're having some member lineup changes that they're working with right now. And I got a couple different video ideas I'm working with. I wanted to do a short film about kind of a little play on the Greek myth of the Minotaur and the Labyrinth, and I'm going to call it Labyrinth for Pete, which is a really clever title. But I have it written. My original plan before I started Candy Hearts or Razor Blades was to do that. But when I got this idea for this video, I very much was like, I need to do this video because this idea is going to stick in my head until I get it out there. And now that's what I'm working on.
Is there any people in the area that you haven't worked with that you want to work with? Someone's music or band caught your attention?
Offhand, I know me and Timmy from Churches and Trains, we want to do something.
I'm having him on soon. I'm excited.
I'm really good friends with Timmy.
Yeah.
We want to do something at the coffee shop, video wise.
Yeah.
He's really, when I offered it to him, I'm like, you want to do video? He's like, oh hell yeah. And then he's like, you know what? I'm kind of mad that you did that video for Matt Charles at my barn because I feel like that would have been cool.
Yeah.
So now we're gonna try to do something probably at his coffee shop at some point this summer. I'm doing a video with Beelzebub and the Screaming Demons over the summer for Big Tan Island Man, which is a hilarious song about a Big Tan Island man who lives on the beach. So we're going to be doing that with green screen and all that fun stuff on my yard one day this summer. I'm going to be doing a video for the song Space Weed by Tyler Colt, which is a song about space weed. And what other videos? I'm doing a video, the band Black Diamond from Wilkes-Barre. They're doing a reunion show. And I'm going to be doing a video for them as well.
Have you ever tried doing live at show videos? Yes,
I've actually done that before.
Nice.
The video for Treadwater's Hungry Ghost is a compilation of 2 shows they did while they were on, did a weekender down here 2 years ago. And I had my camera with me and I'm like, oh, you guys want to do video? And they were like, okay, cool. So it just kind of did it. And it's actually, we filmed it at Bart Nervy's in Wilkes-Barre. That venue does not exist anymore. So that's really cool to have that out there.
Footage, yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, for now, that's really what I have working. And
cool.
I mean, hopefully at some point I'm going to get Crustoon Season 4 started and done. But it's not looking super likely right now.
Because you have so much on your plate.
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm trying to think what we are here. I don't want to keep you forever. Hour and 20 minutes in. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Plug? Any topics?
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
I think we're good here.
I mean, I can keep going. I just don't want it's completely up to you. Is there like a movie that you just recently seen you want to talk about or anything?
You know what I actually saw? We're going to bring this full circle. I actually saw Detective Pikachu.
Oh, how was it?
It honestly was surprisingly good. Everyone's like, oh, the plot's derivative. And it's like, you don't even know what derivative means.
Well, the plot came from the Detective Pikachu video game, right?
I didn't know that when I saw that.
Yeah.
I just thought it was a fun little idea. Someone was like, hey, what if you wrote a Pokemon movie, but it wasn't based on Pokemon?
Yeah.
That's a cool idea. I like that. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd like to see more of that with, like... There's a lot of people think video game films are crappy. A lot of times they're right. Sometimes they're not.
Yeah, I think there's some of them that were bad, but I was like, you know what? For being what it was, I thought it was decent.
Yeah, I mean, like...
There's one that I wish I got more out of. I'm a big Assassin's Creed fan.
Oh,
I would have loved a little more out of that.
I mean, honestly, I could see... Now, this is something I'm going to talk about that's really close to my heart. That preview for the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. Why? Like, I saw it, and I thought it was an okay preview, but then I saw Sonic, and I'm like, if he didn't look that way, I would have enjoyed this.
Well, they actually put that movie on super hold to fix the way Sonic looks.
All the animators got to go back in and replace him, and I'm hoping they do a good job.
I didn't mind it.
You didn't?
No.
It just creeped me out, because why are his legs so long?
Yeah.
Like... That's not the Sonic that I want to see.
I think if they would have maybe shortened his legs a hair and just put bigger shoes on him.
Yeah,
I didn't mind the face too much.
See, the face is what bothered me. Like,
I think a lot of people he had real human teeth.
Yeah,
and it creeped people out.
Yeah, like maybe if his head was like a little bigger, it would make more sense. Like, see, like as you can tell by my art style, I'm kind of like I like that kind of animation where the head's kind of proportionate to the body, like a little bigger. Mm-hmm. It's just better for me. I don't know. Like, there's a Funko Pop in my room that looks... I feel like if it looked like that, it would make a lot better. Yeah. Like live action. But then they have that little blip at the end of the preview where Jim Carrey's in full Robotnik mode, like with the giant mustache and he's bald. And I'm like, if that would have been there through the whole film, too, this would have been awesome. Yeah. But that's not what they did. Yeah. Like, I feel like they should just go back and replace that, too.
Now, was there any Pokemon in the movie, without hopefully not spoiling anything, that... you've seen in animation your whole life, and then when you finally seen it live action, like, wow, it's interesting?
Not so much. Mm-hmm. There's one that I saw for the first time, because I'm not a giant Pokemon fan. Yeah. My buddy Tyler, like, he's a huge Pokemon fan. I'm not a huge Pokemon fan. There's a Pokemon called Ludicolo. Okay. He's like a pineapple sombrero duck thing. Yeah. And he works as a barista at the coffee bar. I saw him. I'm like, I like him. And I'm like, I want to see what he looks like as a cartoon. Totally different. Yeah. I like him better in the movie. Like, he looks like creepy and like greasy and stuff. I'm like, I like that.
A lot of the ones people are like, oh my god, they made every Pokemon furry. And they're like, well, they couldn't do that in the animation growing up. So like people are like, Jigglypuff's furry, and they're like, if you kind of go back and read some descriptions of Pokemon, like, that's another crazy thing. If you want to kill some time in your life, go and find like top 10 creepiest just Pokemon descriptions. Yeah. Speaking those top 10 lists. But like some of the Pokemon lists, like descriptions that the Japanese people wrote are creepy.
Yeah, like Cubone. Cubone wears the skull of his dead mother. Yeah. That's creepy.
There's a ghost Pokemon in one of the newer ones that lures children into the woods and the kids go missing.
Oh wow.
Like, it kills kids.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there's like, you have to look at some of them. They're way out there. But yeah, I definitely want to see that. I want to see Godzilla.
I want to see Godzilla. I'm actually going to go see it this week.
It actually just beat Aladdin.
Yeah, I heard about that.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I would if you would have said, Tony, Godzilla and Aladdin are going to be in theaters at the same time, who's going to be the box office winner? I'm like, all day long, Aladdin. And Godzilla beat it, which like warms my heart.
Yeah. I saw the last Godzilla movie that came out, the one with Bryan Cranston. Yeah. I saw it with no expectations.
I liked it.
I said, I love this. This is really good.
And I like that they killed Cranston.
Yeah.
Because no one's bigger than Godzilla.
It's like how the first season of the first season of Game of Thrones was. Nobody thought Ned Stark was going to die, and he dies.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, well, we don't have no main character. What do we do now?
Yeah, I'm up to season 2 in Game of Thrones. I was waiting for it to end and then just go watch it all.
That's probably good. See, I just got into it last year because Katie's really big into Game of Thrones. When we started hanging out, she's like, talk about Game of Thrones. I'm like,
So I don't know how this is going to spoil it for me, but I kind of read something online that they spoiled the ending of Game of Thrones in the season 1 poster.
Did they?
So the season 1 poster is Ned sitting on the Iron Throne. That's what they call it, right? The Iron Throne?
Yeah.
So the original season 1 poster is Ned sitting on the throne with a sword just looking down. And on the right side of his shoulder is a crow, and there's a crow on his shoulder. In the season 1 poster. I guess I watched the video online where they showed the poster to one of the main girls in the show, and she's like, "Oh my god!" Like she didn't put the connection together, and now that it's over, people are starting to put connections and stuff together.
Yeah,
but I don't know many of the characters in it. So so far into season 2, I'm hooked on the. I don't know their names. I'm hoping that's not offensive, but the midget dude,
Tyrion
Lannister. See, I was a year ago what you are now.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Because Katie got me into Game of Thrones. At first I'm like, I'm not gonna get into this. And then like by season 4 I'm like, I love this, that, and the other thing.
I had to watch season 1 twice. The first time I watched it and I was kinda into it but not into it. And they're like, what do you think? And everyone's like, oh, like they wanted, like, it was like when you bite someone's food and they're like, is it good? Right?
That was her, the whole first season.
And I was like,
she's like, what did you think?
And I was like, and then I was like,
and up there, I'm like, it's not Star Wars.
Yeah, I was like, And they're like, what do you mean, I was like, well, how far into the show are you? And they're like, we're really far into it. And I was like, you didn't like the season 1? I was like, no. And like, what was your major problem with it? I'm like, they start the show and name drop all these people, places, and things as if I should already know about it.
See, I feel like now, you're going to get into this. When you first saw Star Wars: A New Hope,
yes,
they name drop all those things. How old were you?
Young.
You were very young.
Yes.
I feel like kids these days, now they shouldn't watch Game of Thrones, first of all.
Yes.
Their parents let them watch it. They're terrible parents.
So if you're a Star Wars guy, I'm going to ruin something for you.
I have no kids.
Yes.
So, anyways, if they watch it at a young age, they're going to totally look over that and they'll get into it and they'll be Game of Thrones fans their whole life.
Yeah.
If they watch Star Wars when they're like 32, they're going to be like, I don't get any of this.
Yeah.
This is boring.
So here's what got me into Star Wars. I never watched a Star Wars movie until maybe like 6 years ago.
Okay.
So I'm very late to the Star Wars train. Weird Al made the parody song about Anakin Skywalker.
Yes.
And told the story of American Pie through Star Wars. And it made sense to me to go back and watch the other ones because he was like, the way he wrote the song was perfect.
Yeah.
Like they should have hired him to like narrate the movie because it went.
Yeah.
So that was my problem with season 1 of Game of Thrones.
Well, they got me at a young age. See, my mom dated this guy, Bob. And he lived in a trailer and he had all like cassette movies. And
my dad was a Trekkie, so that might have hurt me too with the Star Wars.
I was never a big Trekkie.
I hated it.
But see, like I enjoyed the newer movies.
Yeah, the newer ones are good.
Because oh my god, I love Benedict Cumberbatch. He's one of my favorite actors of all time. If I ever direct,
are you a Who fan?
I'm not a Who fan, but
I never got into that train.
My nephew was super into Doctor Who, and I was like, "Oh, this is interesting." I love the actors. I can't get into the show.
I never watch Doctor Strange either.
If I see a Doctor Who actor, like in Jessica Jones, what's his face was the Purple Man.
Yes, he was a good villain. He
was so good in that. Honest to God, if I ever actually direct like a feature film, I want Benedict Cumberbatch to be in it. I don't care who he is.
Yeah.
I don't care if like I'm directing like a Super Mario Brothers movie and Benedict Cumberbatch is Bowser.
That would be me with Edward Norton. I just think he's a good actor.
Yeah. See, I think he's a good actor. I think David Tennant's a good actor. Never got into Doctor Who.
Yeah.
Matt Stone. He's gonna be in the new Star Wars movie.
Who is?
Matt Stone.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know who he's playing. I really hope he's just playing one of those token Empire generals. It's just like,
well, there's so many people that were in the last 2 Star movies that were just like they showed up on set and they were like in stormtrooper costumes.
yeah.
Like major A-list people were.
Daniel Craig was one of those people in the first one.
Yeah.
Nobody realizes that, like a lot of Game of Thrones people were in Star Wars movies now.
Yeah.
What's her name? What's the lady who plays Brianna Tarth? Gwendolyn Christie. I can never pronounce that. Thank you. She is Captain Phasma, and okay, like I saw Force Awakens, I saw Last Jedi, and Captain Phasma, dies. Did not really realize like the gravity of that.
Yeah.
My buddy was like, "Oh, Brianna Tarth died." I'm like, "I don't know who that is." And then I watched Game of Thrones, and now I'm like, then I watched Last Jedi, and I'm like, "Oh my god, they just got rid of her. That sucks because she's so good. I love her so much." But yeah, like I said, like I'm hoping Matt Stone is just like he's just like a token like general, and it's like Kylo's friend, like ready to shift. He's like, "Yes, sir, Captain," and that's it. Like I'm hoping that's it.
Like a typical man, like, "Hey, everyone, okay, we're here to do it."
Another thing, like I love how those Disney movies, like everything's under the same umbrella, and I feel like it's like when like an A-list actor signs a contract, it's like, okay, well you have to be in a Marvel movie and a Star Wars movie.
Yeah,
I feel like that's what it is.
Yeah,
the villain from Rogue One, who I love, General Krennic. I don't remember the actor's name. Like he was in that, he was so good. And then I saw Captain Marvel and the Skrull guy, whoever that was the bad guy. I'm like watching it, and I'm like, I know this guy from somewhere. And then halfway through, I just go like this. I go, "That's General Krennic," like at the top of my lungs. And Tyler's like, "Shut up!"
And every Marvel movie has a call to Darth Vader where someone loses a hand, Luke Skywalker. They put someone always loses a hand in a Marvel film, and
Didn't notice that.
That's their call to Star Wars.
Well,
Groot loses a hand at one point. Iron Claw only has one hand, and he loses it a couple times. The Thanos' glove they created that to be a hand thing, but they always do that. But yeah, when I was going to work after watching Game of Thrones season 1, and every time I came in, like, how many episodes? And they're like, what's happening? And I was like, I don't know. And they're like, what do you mean? I'm like, because I don't know any characters' names, and I don't know where they are or what's happening. Like, I was getting frustrated. And they're like, well, what was the last thing you watched? I'm like, Aquaman was raping some chick in a tent. And they're like, what? And I was like, the dude who's playing Aquaman is just taking advantage of this poor girl, and she's crying.
You don't really like. I mean, like for me, anyways. I watched the second season,
and she's gorgeous, by the way. Jesus Christmas, she's good looking.
That's not her real hair. You know
She's
that, right?
still good
She could be bald. She has awesome lips.
She's another one. She was in Solo.
Yeah.
Emilia Clarke.
Emilia Clarke.
She was the Kira, Han Solo's love interest or whatever.
Yeah.
And like now that I've seen both Game of Thrones and that, like I see like why she played that character, because she could be so like, I'm Daenerys Targaryen, I'm a valley girl from Dragonstone, and then like at the end she's like all like making that face, like all like.
At one point I had really long hair, and everyone was calling me Jon Snow. I had like hair down to here, and as I was going through the transition, they're like, I'd be at a bar like, "Yo, Jon Snow." I was like, I don't know who that is.
You're not very far into the show, but one of my favorite characters is Tormund. Everybody loves Tormund. I've liked Tormund from when I first saw him, and now I really love Tormund.
Yeah. So I like the, what's his name again? Tyrion. I like Tyrion.
Yeah.
I like the daughter, the young daughter.
Arya.
So Arya's like starting to get trained to be a badass. Yeah. And I'm like,
strap yourself in.
I was like, she is gonna be a badass little bitch.
Oh, yeah. You won't be disappointed then.
And then I seen a video, like I guess of before they did the last season of the sisters, like them now of age, and the other sister is like is married to a Jonas brother. And she's really hot too. Like she's really pretty. And then
she's what's her name? Jean Grey in the new X-Men.
Yes, she's gonna play Jean Grey. Very attractive. Very. So, but I'm only seeing them now when the show starts. If I'm gonna break this chair, I'm gonna cry. I broke one the other day on camera. I was so embarrassed. I was like, "Yep, my fat ass just broke a steel chair live on YouTube." But but I started watching it and I was like, this is cool. I already kind of know he dies, but I can't wait for it to happen. That little fucking Joffrey asshole.
Joffrey,
Yeah.
you're gonna love it.
Oh,
I hope they cut his head off.
No.
This
You won't
is-
even know when it's coming. It's
This is how a lot of.
I hate that prick.
I'm glad Katie's here because I could talk about this with her in the room. When she got me into the show, honestly, we binge watched the entire thing. It was like from like June to August.
Yeah.
Maybe September. How long did it take us?
Not long.
That shows you how much I hate him because he's the only one I remember his fucking name. Like I want it.
And he
Like
has
time-
that face you want.
Every time
I just want to punch him.
every time I saw him, I'm like, I hate that little shit. And she's like, well, you're gonna love the end of season 4 or the end of season 3. And I'm just like, why? What's gonna happen? You can't keep telling me these things and
Yeah.
just like not telling me.
They said that one of the girls, it might be the one with the Jonas Brothers, actually adopted one of the dogs that played the wolf.
Oh, I think she did.
Yeah.
I think she adopted one of the wolf actor dogs.
There's a lot of cool like behind the scenes stuff with that show. Like,
One thing that's not cool is the lady who plays
isn't Xena the lady who played Xena Warrior Princess is in it for a little while?
Is she?
is she?
I think so.
I didn't know that.
Where?
I might be
I know
wrong.
she was in Game of Thrones, not Game of Thrones, Parks and Recreation is Ron Swanson's wife, which makes a hell of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But the lady who plays Cersei,
Which one's that?
the
The one who's fucking your
Cersei.
brother. That's
Yeah.
Oh, she's really pretty too.
Okay, yeah. So,
Not for long.
anyway,
She was dating another character on the show.
Yes.
And they had a clause that they couldn't be
They can't
near each
live
other.
right.
We're in a scene
That's
together.
it.
Yeah.
Bronn
They hate
is.
each other.
Yeah, Bronn he's not allowed in the same room as her.
Now, who's the guy training? Is that the same guy?
The
He's
guy's
training Arya to be like a
Oh,
killer.
No, he's a different guy.
No.
That guy's pretty cool.
Ron
And
doesn't show
then
up till later.
who's the other guy I thought was really cool?
The Hound.
Yeah.
The Hound's my guy. I
Yeah.
love the
The
Hound.
Hound is really cool.
I love how the Hound is just like does not want to be bothered with
Is that the
anybody.
guy with his whole head
Yeah.
like
The Hound.
half destroyed?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna be really like, oh my god, a lot of people
The Hound
started.
is Joffrey's right hand man right now, right?
I think so.
He is he's part of the King's Guard. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Right now.
And
That tells me how far
Game
you are.
Game of Thrones has got to do like what Lord of the Rings did and just start like cashing in on like video games.
yeah, I would honestly. Do you remember? Now I know you didn't get big into Star Wars until like 6 years ago. When I was a kid, I was super into Star Wars. They came out with this game, and it was called Galactic Battlegrounds, and it was on PC.
Yeah.
What you did is you picked like a group, like the Empire or the Rebel Alliance or the Gungans for some reason, and then you'd fight like another group. Like if you could be the Empire, you could fight the Gungans, stuff like that. They need to make a game like that
Yeah.
because then you could pick like.
I feel like they need to make like the board game Risk, Game of Thrones style,
Oh yeah, that'd
where
be-
you pick like a family and you just literally like
Why don't
make
we do
it.
that?
or a
Make, if it's not made and you guys do, I just
No,
want like
I'm sure it's been
I want
done.
like $10
Yeah.
But that's genius, right? Like
I would be really into that. That would be something I'd be really into.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I love the Hound. People started taking videos of like the fights in Game of Thrones and putting lightsabers over them.
Of course they did.
Like at the end, and this isn't really going to spoil because you're probably going to see this coming from a mile away. The Hound fights his brother, the Mountain, at the end.
Oh yeah.
And they put lightsabers to that and the Duel of Fates over it, and it was the goddamn coolest fucking thing I've ever seen. Because like the Mountain shows up and he's like, "There you are, you cunt," with the lightsaber go off. It's the coolest thing.
Yeah, I gotta start watching. Now that it's over, I can just dive in and go for it. But we're gonna wrap it up there. Thank you so much for doing this and hanging out.
Anytime.
I always have guest chairs, but they never get used, so it's pretty cool that someone actually came and hang out. But yeah, anything you got going on, man, or you ever need help with something, or you need an extra in one of your videos, I'll show
Oh
up.
yeah. Likewise, if you ever need help with something, just hit me up.
We'll do, buddy, and we'll definitely have you on again. You would be a great fit for things that weren't cool. Both of you would be a good fit for things that weren't cool in high school. We'll give you like a topic and we'll have fun about it.
Hit me
Maybe
up
if I get
sometime.
caught up in Game of Thrones, we can have like a Game of Thrones episode.
Hell, you know what? Even like I told Tyler from Good Know about it. You wouldn't have me and him on here. It'd probably be a blast.
Yeah, 100%.
Because when we're in the same room, you're probably gonna have like a 3-hour episode.
I'm with it. I like those long ones. But we'll wrap it up there. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I didn't say at the beginning, but hit that like and subscribe button. Watch hours, we're doing amazing. We need those subscribers up so YouTube can start throwing some bucks my way. But thank you guys once again. And this interview obviously is going to be live at 12 on Friday. But if you're already watching that, I don't know why I said that. But stay tuned for more awesome episodes, and we'll definitely have you back. All right.
All right.
Take it easy.
Yeah. And remember, if you need a clean shave, to pick Dollar Shave Club.
Yes, and spade and neuter your pets.
You are lame.
No, that was fun. You did really
that was
good.
really good. I think you did very well.
You did a great job.
And I listened to a lot of podcasts, and I wasn't bored. So